live stream. If you're jumping on, please hit the like button. Feel free to drop me a comment below, and I'll just wait to get a bit of an audience up before I start tonight's lesson. If you're new here, I'm Susie and I help people ascend. Hi Rita, good to see you here, my friend. How are you doing this evening or this morning, wherever you are? And how's your day been? I'll just wait to get a few more people on the live before I start this lesson. Oh, hi Leonie, good to see you here, sister. How are you feeling today? How have you been? Lots of energies are shifting at the moment. I can say that personally myself. I've had a lot of things shifting within. So I'm going to cover a bit of that in tonight's lesson. Oh, that's good. I'm glad you're good, Rita. Yeah, I'm okay. I was feeling a little bit tired today. I'm glad you're good, Leonie, sister. That's good. Yeah, I was feeling a bit tired today. So I just allowed myself to rest and just went with it. I've been releasing a lot of old stuff lately. So you're going to find that on your journey, my friends, okay? As we go through our Kundalini awakening, okay? What's happening is we are healing such deep layers, okay? We're going through our spiritual awakening, okay? Maybe you're just having your spiritual awakening, all right? Maybe because there's different stages to your spiritual awakening, all right? Depending where you're at, okay, you're going to experience lots of different things, lots of internal shifts, okay? And people often confuse spiritual awakenings, okay, as psychosis. I'm going to get into that, okay? I've got a whole bunch of notes here, but I probably won't really read them once I get in the flow. Okay, mental health is a really big thing, okay? We need to pay attention right now because mental health, okay, is on the rise because a lot of people, okay, what's happening, okay, so we've got Agnes the Wagon here that's put in a comment says show feet. So when we see comments like this, use this to really practice presence because people out there operating from a lower state of consciousness, as we can see here, for example. So when you come across this in your everyday life, whether it's online, whether it's out and about, you know, you're out there doing your shopping or whatever you're doing, people are going to test you. Yeah, you just pull yourself back to presence because you don't need to feed that sort of energy, okay? And this is what this is about. We're sliding out of the ego. And like I said, there's stages to this. There's different levels of consciousness, okay? Some people are still vibrating quite low out of the ego, okay? Especially to put comments like show feet. This person's obviously operating from the ego. But we don't need to put judgment or hatred there because that's just where they're at on the evolutionary journey. So we can stand back and observe, okay? Pay attention to what's going on inwardly in your body. That's a good practice right there. So thank you for that. Agnes the Wagon, thank you. Okay, and that's the thing. We stay present. If you get triggered, that's an opportunity to go inwardly now. Oh, okay. Well, what's going on within me? Pay attention to your in body. Maybe your heart is like feeling irate. Yeah, maybe it's triggering something in you. So there's always an opportunity. The universe is always going to give you opportunities. People are going to give you opportunities to grow. Okay, so there's a physical example there. Let's talk about the hi Avon Exton, welcome. Let's talk about the energy interferences right now, okay? Because that's a big thing. We just had a physical example here, thanks to Agnes the Wagon, gave us a good physical example. Now let's look at the spiritual example. Because when you have a Kundalini awakening, what happens is a Kundalini awakening is the start, okay? It's the start of your healing process. Okay, it's the start. So some people that have a spontaneous spiritual awakening, okay, whether that be through psychedelics, for example, which I don't encourage that one bit because that can be very dangerous. Some people go through, like myself personally, I had like a slow awakening from a young age. I was awakening my third, I was developing. It was a gradual process. But then when I lost my son to suicide and went through that trauma, that was like another awakening for me. So that was huge. It's like my third eye was already open, but my third eye at the around the loss of my son got cracked open. Okay, I fragmented so much. Okay, it fragmented so much that my Kundalini energy, which is the energy which is meant to flow up from the base of our spine, the energy just rose up too quickly. So all of the fear energy, okay, all of the trauma energy, all this stuff was now surfacing to the surface. And that can present as hearing voices, okay, having hallucinations, okay, experiencing things energetically that you're not used to. And that can be super, super intense. So when that happens, okay, that can happen through a spontaneous Kundalini activation, okay? And maybe you're going through that process now. And the thing is, the hearing the voices side of things is because when your third eye's open, okay, we are gifted, guys, okay? We're gifted. Me, myself, okay, I can hear spirit, I can see spirit. I've had these abilities for a long, long time, not just after I lost my son. It only enhanced. Traumas will help enhance you. Okay, I've done a video before on how traumas can help you with your awakening, okay? But the thing is, it can feel scary because you're not used to that and you don't know what's going on. Because now you're hitting all this shadow, or the shadow within you now, which is what we call the shadow self, okay? You've heard the terms before: dark night of the soul, yeah? Ego death. This is the process. It's a process, okay? Now the mind, the ego, the psyche, has to process all of the traumas that you've been through. I'm talking all the way back to childhood. That's a shitload of trauma there. And sometimes even past life stuff that you will be processing, your mind will be processing. So you're laying there in the middle of the night and you're all calm and you're chill, you just meditated, you're in a Zen state, you're staying present. Okay. Then you start to have, seeing in your third eye, you're starting to see things that may come across as scary, like worms or dead people or just like all sorts of crazy things. And it may feel scary. And all you have to do is just witness that, because it's just a lot of old energy. Because you think about it, all the traumas and stuff that we've been through, and we went through a lot of traumas and stuff in our childhood that we couldn't process properly. So let's just look at an example at one childhood trauma, for example. Okay, sexual trauma. The child goes through a sexual trauma. The child is now silenced and is living in fear. Okay. And so the child cannot express anger. So there's a suppression. Okay. There's repressed anger now that's stuck in the system. And then there's the fear that's stuck and repressed and it's stuck in the system. Okay. These are held in the system. Okay. The fear sitting in the root chakra at base of the spine. Welcome everyone to the live stream. Please hit the like button so others can get this message. Okay, so these traumas, they're experienced in childhood, but when the child doesn't feel safe enough, there's not a loving, maybe there's not a loving family unit there so that child can feel safe, or maybe the child just didn't have anyone to be able to disclose that trauma to. So what happens is that trauma sits there in the cells, okay, and later on in life, okay, what happens is that starts to manifest, okay, because everything left unhealed starts to manifest in the system now as physical diseases, okay, and you're wondering why you've got like all these issues, like gut issues, asthma, which is grief related, and all these physiological, all these chronic illnesses and diseases is because of all of these repressed emotions, and it goes way back to childhood and all the way along our journey. So when you have a spiritual awakening now, okay, people think a spiritual awakening is this beautiful dance in the park. Actually, man, you're very lucky and very gifted to be blessed with the opportunity for a spiritual awakening, because a lot of people don't get to experience the spiritual awakening, and it is a hard, brutal journey, but it's the most liberating journey, because what's happening is returning back to your authentic self, which is the spirit within. Okay, you're not the ego and you're not those traumas. So when you start to awaken and this energy starts to flow up your spine now, you're going to experience, okay, the processing of old traumas. That's why they say, I've been going through the dark night of the soul for 10 years, okay? I've personally been going through dark night of the soul since, 2012. 2012. It's been a long time, okay? And it only just intensified after the loss of my son Luke. Okay, so it can feel brutal. It can feel brutal. So the thing is, when you're processing all these old emotions, and the best way to go about it, because you're going to have things come up, okay, and even the emotions, you're going to have the emotions. You wonder why you feel like you're on this emotional roller coaster. This is ascension, baby. Okay, we have to experience the highs and the lows, and we can't force it. We cannot force it. Okay. Thank you for that, Adam the Ghost. Thanks for your condolences. Um, okay, so just use people's unconscious comments in the comment section, my tribe, to learn, okay, presence, and to just learn to hold your stillness, because this is all part of your practice. They're helping us evolve. Look at it that way. So if you're experiencing now hearing the voices, seeing the visions, the hallucinations of all the scary stuff, it's just the old fear energy that's been sitting in the root chakra for years and years and years suppressed, that's now coming up for clearing, coming up for purification. Okay? It's coming up for purification. So all you have to do is be the witness. The more that you can surrender, one love, Leonie sister, good to see you here. The more that you can surrender, things are going to shift a lot quicker. Okay, now a lot of people, they go to the medical system and because they don't really know what's going on, because the medical system aren't trained. Okay, one love, Adam the Ghost. The medical system ain't trained, okay, when it comes to spiritual matters. Okay, and that medical system are trained by those people who have a darker agenda, put it that way. Okay, so there's certain bloodlines who have been running this, medical system, big pharmaceutical systems. Okay, certain bloodlines have been running them. They're very deeply ingrained in their ego. They're operating from a very low vibration. It's all about control, money, and power. Okay, so when people, people think they're doing the right thing, they're empathetic. They're like, I'm going to be a medical professional, psychologist, or doctor, or whatever. They go in there. A lot of people go in there with good intentions, but they don't realize the system that they're learning under is very highly infiltrated and corrupted. Okay. That's right. The medical system is only trained to medicate and treat you once you're already too far gone. It's pretty sad. It is. It really is. Now the thing is, and then so you go to that system and you say, okay, well, I'm experiencing this. I'm hearing voices. I'm having hallucinations and stuff. It's all coming from the trauma. Remember, this is all the shadow self within. Okay, it just needs to be processed and healed so this energy can shift out of you. This energy will shift out of you. Okay, but you go to that system and that system will medicate you. The system will give you anxiety medication. Let me tell you one thing about the anxiety medication. For example, the anxiety is the energy, okay, the fear energy, which is sitting in the root chakra. It's finally starting to rise up now so it can be shifted, so it can be healed. But the anxiety medication is going to cover that energy up. What happens when you cover the energy? You can't transmute it. Okay, you can't transmute the energy when you cover it up. It's the same as antidepressants. You throw the antidepressant in. Look at it like this. It's like a blanket. Because people go experience the deep trauma. I experienced a deep trauma. My son suicided. I found my son. So that was deep trauma for me. Okay. I had the post-traumatic stress disorder. I was having the flashbacks. It was hectic. Okay. So at the time, for me as a crutch, I went on the antidepressants. Okay. I went on those for a little bit. But what happens is with I'm not on them anymore because the antidepressants, okay, it's like a blanket. It covers it up. It numbs you a bit. Then you can't process that. How's the psyche, the brain? The human body is so intelligent. It knows how to process trauma. We just have to get out of the body's way. We just have to trust. Our body knows exactly what it's doing. We have to trust our spirit and our psyche to process this so we can work through it, so it can shift, and then we clear the shadow. Because like I say, around here, shadows get lit, right? So I was on the antidepressant for a little bit, and I knew I wasn't going to properly heal until I come off that. So I was only on it for a matter of months, and I decided I need to be strong. I was strong. I know I was strong. I need to be courageous enough now to slide off this, okay? Because otherwise I'm not going to be able to heal properly. So I went and I did that, and I remained practicing presence. It was very hard for me to return back to meditating after my trauma, because as you guys know, you've been practicing presence, and that's part of your daily practice, is this practicing presence. When you're sitting in presence, that's when stuff's going to get processed. So it was hard for me, very hard for me to sit there and meditate. When I meditated ever since I was 16, I'm 40 now. So I was meditating most of my life, okay? So when I was sitting there trying to meditate, I was like, I couldn't. So I didn't meditate for a little bit after the loss of my son because it was too traumatic, because all the trauma was coming up to be processed. And to me, it was too much. I was running from it. But I'm telling you now, years have passed and I know not to run. Because if you keep running, if you keep having some sort of blanket and you cover up those traumas, you will never properly heal. Okay? So I'm talking things like alcohol, drugs, food, okay? Gambling, whatever. There's so many different addictions, gaming. There's so many um I'm just going to go back here. Adam the Ghost, I had really messed up flashbacks. It's like a holographic scene of revealing the situation. It's weird to explain. It is. And that's what they call, say, PTSD. So we experience a trauma, and then PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is the aftermath now of that trauma. It's us now trying to process that. Because the mind can only process so much at a time. Imagine trying to process all that. It would be too much. You would be absolutely screwed. It'll be too much. That's why, the human brain, the psyche, knows exactly what it's doing. And remember, our spirit is guiding us. We're going to get exactly what we need in dribs and drabs, little bits along the way. This is why they say, why Dark Night of the Soul takes many years. Because how can you process and heal years and years and years of trauma and even past life stuff in 1 year? No, sometimes it takes years to go through the ego death, to go through the dark night of the soul. Okay, so we just have to watch that system, because look at it this way. Okay, so that's schizophrenia. If we look at the mental health labels, okay, I'm talking schizophrenia, which is some of the symptoms with that is hallucinations, paranoia, OCD, hearing the voices, okay, split personality disorder, bipolar, depression, even with different eating disorders and things like that. All of these things come from trauma. It all comes from trauma. So every time you go to that system, when the system is going to medicate people, I used to work in mental health as a support worker many years ago, okay, and I worked in the psychiatric hostels, and I was helping people just to get out of bed and encouraging them with my wise words and just motivating them, because I'm a personal trainer too. So come on, bro, let's go for a walk, and sit there. And these people were so zombified. It was real sad because of the medication that they'll put them on. And you think about it, all these medications just pushing people down. They're not even having a chance to be their pure, authentic self. This is why we need to be brave enough now, because you are strong. You've been walking this earth walk for however long you've been walking the earth walk. We've experienced the highs and the lows. Okay, it's not that you're not strong. You're strong. Now tap into that courage now. You got it in you. It's within you. Tap into it. When you walk, you don't just walk you're walking with your ancestors. You are your ancestors. Okay, you're a big light. You're a big spirit. You walk like that. You walk into it. When I say you walk into the shadows so the shadows can get lit, all you have to do is just observe whatever's coming up for you. So you're sitting there and you're feeling dense today. You wake up and today you're feeling dense. You're having all sorts of flashbacks. You're having lots of emotions. 1 minute you're fine. Next minute you're on a low. You're crying and you're releasing your emotions. Why? Because now it's time to heal and your body's ready. Your body's ready and you want to go and heal. Okay, all these lingering diseases and things that you've had for all these years. It's the only way you're going to heal. When we can sit in presence, acknowledge the shadow, the shadow self. Carl Jung talks about this. He was the master of psychology. If you look into psychology, okay, and you look into all that, and then you start to understand presence, and you put it all together, you put the piece of the puzzle together. We have the ability to heal ourselves just by sitting in presence. And sometimes, yes, it can feel super uncomfortable. And sometimes you feel like you're going crazy. You're like, what's going on, man? Is my mind broken? Is there something wrong with me? Because people, it's such a thing. It's a stigma. People can't go around and say, oh, I'm hearing voices. I'm having hallucinations. Oh, I'm seeing flashing things. I'm seeing spirits. I'm seeing ghosts. But we are spirit. And we're here having this human experience. This is all normal. We all have third eye. And your third eye may be wide open. Maybe your third eye is in the beginning stages of slowly starting to open and you're starting to experience these things. Okay? And you're wondering what's going on. What's going on? The thing is as well, okay? If you're not doing the inner work, Remember this. If you're not doing the inner work, you have a lot of shadow within you, a lot of shadow. When I say shadow, okay, I'm talking about grief, I'm talking trauma, I'm talking anger, shame, guilt, fear. This is all shadow, okay? This is the shadow self. So you have you, your spirit, and this is the traumas, the shadow self, okay? If you're not doing the inner work, you're not doing anything to shift that shadow, the biggest thing that's going to shift that shadow is presence, because then you can process it, feel it, and heal it, okay? What happens is you become a vibrational match to that sort of energy, okay? And you're going to start to attract that sort of energy into your life physically, okay? Because say, for example, say you've been through a toxic upbringing. Maybe you were raised by a pair of narcissists. You grew up and then your first partner was a narcissist and all your friends were narcissists, you see? Because you haven't broken that link there. You haven't done that healing there. The healing of self-love, that self-honor. That self-love is everything, right? Sounds so cliche. Oh, let's love ourselves. No, real self-love is a real deal. Yeah, so then you love yourself. So you heal that part of you. You've healed that inner child, the inner part of you. So you'll stop attracting that energy into your life. It's the same as fear, okay? If we don't heal the fears, we all have had those fears, childhood fears, whatever. Sometimes we come into this lifetime with a certain fear. We don't understand what this fear is about. Maybe you've carried this energy signature of a fear from a past lifetime. So you do the inner work. You sit there, you face the shadows. Because otherwise you're going to be a vibrational match. And when you start to open up and your clairaudient abilities, that's where you can hear spirit, clairaudient, your clairsentient, that's your inner knowing, your clairvoyance, your seeing, okay, all your clair abilities open up. But if you're not doing the inner work and you've got a lot of this dense, low energy within you, you're going to experience, because you're going to be a vibrational match energetically now, and you're going to start to experience all this energy, all that low vibrating type of energy, which people will call demons, okay? Because reality is we live in an energetic universe. We are energy, okay? So I'm just going to take a moment to check out some of these comments here. It's so important that we work through the traumas, Some people use mental suppression so badly that actually gives them psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. I help people cure their seizures using exposure therapy. That's powerful, Jean, because exposure therapy is very powerful as well. I've done EMDR, which is trauma therapy. That was very helpful for me to shift a lot of the trauma. So check out EMDR. It's a psychology modality, okay? But if you're doing any sort of deep trauma work like that, my friends, please make sure that you have the support around you, because this is deep shit. And when it surfaces, okay, you need to make sure you have the support around you. So when I was early days, when I was doing that real deep, intense trauma work, I made sure I had the support around me. I was there at my mum's. I was staying with mum. Mum was supporting me. So I love you, mum. So there's lots of different healing modalities out there, but you'll get to that point where you realize, okay, that presence is going to shift all of it. All you have to do is just be the witness, experience whatever's coming up for you, okay? Labels do more of a disservice. Hearing voices is real to the person experiencing it. Yes, I agree. And Adam the Ghost says it all comes from trauma. That's right. And just a few unconscious comments here, but that's all. We'll leave it. It's all valid. Everyone's going to say their part. I can help all these problems that you are listening using hypnosis. I got into using hypnosis to really help people with PTSD. I have PTSD, but I stopped my nightmares using hypnosis. The thing is, as well, I just want to add to that, and I'm not dismissing hypnosis because that's not a modality that I'm 100% switched on with. I tried it in the past many years ago when I was younger for something. It didn't work, but that's just my experience. But the thing is, this is one thing that they're really pushing in the new age spiritual community, is the whole positive thinking. Okay, we can positive think our way through this and positive think and all that, but really realistically, okay, if you're going to sit there and positive think your way through your trauma, well, then you're spiritual bypassing. You cannot positive think your way out of your shadow. I'll say that again. You cannot positive think your way out of your shadow. Okay? The shadow gets illuminated by your awareness. Then you'll be able to witness it just for what it is, as the observer, as a spirit. That's what you are, your spirit, your higher self. You're the witness. You observe that. You're no longer attached to that because you're no longer identified with it, because you're none of that. Okay? Sometimes you have to confront the beast, the abuser, or whatever it is that is driving you crazy. You just have to face it all. Face it all. And so peer support and people around you is so key being a practitioner. Burnout and vicarious trauma is real. We need to regulate to co-regulate. Self-care needs to be collective care too. 100% agree with that. Self-care is everything. We need to make sure, because what's happening as well, like you'll be sitting there. Here's another thing, okay? When the energy is trying to shift, okay, you're having this Kundalini energy shifting within you. Like I said, can feel scary, can feel like psychosis. You can feel like you're possessed. You don't know what's going on, okay? This is why we need to more practitioners and more people that are aware of this. It's up to us to spread the awareness so others can understand. Okay, because we can end up in a healing crisis. We don't know what's going on, and it can feel very scary. I've ended up in healing crises many times on my journey because I didn't have anyone to guide me through my Kundalini awakening. I had to learn this myself. Okay, so it can feel very scary. And you can have moments where you're sitting there, and this has happened to me several times, okay? It happens a fair bit where I'm shifting old energy, my body will start shaking, okay, like shaking. Okay, you start trembling, shaking. Drop me a comment if you've had this experience. Because what's happening is the Kundalini energy now, that energy is being shifted up from your body, from your chakras. The energy needs to shift out of you. So, yeah, you could be like, well, what's going on? And there's a healing modality called trauma release exercises, TRE, um, which actually shows you, gets you into certain positions of stretch. And then what happens is that your body, okay, will start to shake, because when we have trauma and the body will shake, it's expelling that trauma out of the body. Okay, then that can be followed by crying, okay, and all this sort of stuff. So if you've done that in the past before, okay, I've done lots of TRE exercises in the past before. So now when I'm sitting there sometimes in meditation and I've got things, because I've had a lot of stuff surfaced to me lately, and I feel this past life fear stuff, like some crazy shit. I don't even know what it's about, but I'm not even trying to get in my head about it. I'm just witnessing it, but it's a lot of fear-based stuff. So that's telling me it's this past life fear stuff. It's around, just, I won't even get into it, but it's hectic. But I'm just observing it, and then bang, I'm sitting here just like this, here on this chair, even just meditating, and then bang, my body just starts shaking, yawning. When you yawn, when I yawn, when I'm doing any energy work, whether for others or myself, and I yawn, that's me shifting energy. So if you're wondering why, you're releasing emotions and then things are shifting up and you just start yawning heaps and stuff, that's your body. Everyone's different, but that may be your body's way of releasing the old energy. Okay. um Patty says she vibrates as well. Great, that's good, because you'll feel the vibration and you'll feel like, okay, you can just be sitting there and you can feel that Kundalini energy just flowing up your spine, like it just feels so gentle, like gentle waves. But then also you may have those moments where you just start shaking so intensely. But just remember, if you're experiencing that, try not to fear. Just know that you're safe. There's nothing to fear. Okay. When it comes to a whole family issue, that is when it gets complex and difficult. Sometimes a matriarch allows a man to abuse her, and then she teaches that her daughter and her grandchildren. That's that's a very good comment, because this is what we're talking now, generational trauma. Okay, and that's the thing, we're doing such deep healing, and a lot of traumas had gotten passed down. So if our look at our parents, for example, if our parents, say, were abandoned, okay, um, and then went through abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and all that, okay, a lot of the time that trauma is left unhealed. Now that, and say like they went through that, and then before they even conceived you, and you've picked on that energy signature now, because they haven't done the inner work. You see what I'm saying? So where does it all sit? It sits in our fascia, it sits in our cells, it sits in our body, my friends. So, and that gets passed down now. Okay? So you're going to be the one in your bloodline by the looks of it, because you guys are here. I salute you. Okay? That's going to put the end to that cycle. Break that cycle for once and for all, to all the sexual trauma, to all the abuse, to all the lack of self-love, to all of that, because we honor ourselves. Okay? We have to honor ourselves through this process of soul integration, because the more shadow that we can face, the more shadow gets illuminated, you merge with your spirit. Okay? This is soul integration. Okay, it may feel like you're going absolutely crazy at times. Okay, and that's it's my personal opinion. Okay, I'm not a medical professional. I've had my life experience. I've worked in the mental health field. I'm an energy healer. I'm a holistic healer. Okay, I've worked in the fitness industry. I consider myself as a holistic healer, but I've experienced a lot of traumas in my lifetime. I went through the sexual traumas. I went through the abuse. I went through abandonment. I went through the loss of my only child. I experienced such deep, severe trauma, and I tried so many different healing modalities to heal myself. Okay, and I started meditating from a very young age. At the age of 16, I started meditating, and that's the most profound thing that's helped me on my journey. Yes, let's look at the obvious. Okay, we've got to eat clean. Always make sure you're eating correctly. You have a nice, clean diet. Exercise is crucial because we're helping the energy shift. Okay, sunlight, time out in the earth, connection with nature. Okay, not partaking in substances and toxic chemicals, household chemicals and makeup and all these toxic chemicals and things on your skin. This is just givens. Okay, but the most profound thing, just to tie it all in, is presence. You present and you meditate. Because see, I sit here like this. I don't need to close my eyes. I don't need meditation fancy. No, I just sit here like this. I'm just sitting in presence now. I'm connected to my in breath. This is me meditating. Now, this phone's not here right now. I'll be like this, just zenning out. And I'm connected. I'm feeling every energy in my body. I'm feeling every vibration in my body. And the more you practice this, okay, the more you're tapping in, the ego is going to slowly dissolve. Because the ego is loud. The ego is trying to distract you all the time. And you have a look. Why is the world right now? Why is humanity so sick? Because all the trauma and all that old ass repressed emotions, all that repressed emotions that haven't been processed and dealt with is sitting within. That's why people are sick out there. And now, why? Because people's minds are so stimulated. People are always on the scroll. People are always working. People are always grabbing something for a quick hit, a dopamine hit, a food, a smoke, a drink, a substance, meaningless sex with randoms. All these things, it's all just distractions. And then the Matrix is doing everything they can to keep people distracted and locked into a state of fear. So you're locked into your root chakra, so you can't ascend. How do you flee the Matrix? You flee the Matrix by sitting in presence, and it's all going to come to you. You're gonna all those pieces of the puzzle, all of my teachings, everything's going to start to. You're going to put it all together. And you're going to start to understand it, and it's how you level up. This is how you level up. Patty says, my grandfather died by suicide. I never knew that as a child, but I did feel it deeply growing up. Generational trauma is so real. I'm so sorry to hear about your grandfather. Because I didn't just lose my son to suicide. There's suicide that goes up my family tree. I discovered over the years through meditation as well. So, I had so many different views on suicide, but I come to believe where I'm at today with this level of consciousness that I attain right now in this now moment is that I personally believe that suicide is when the person is just in so much pain. Okay, the shadow is just so big. When the shadow is so big and the ego just gets louder and louder, it's the ego. That's what I'm trying to say. I personally believe that suicide is driven by the ego. I don't believe suicide is a soul thing. Yes, our soul, we come in on the earth walk, we come in with an entry point and we have an exit point when we're going to transition, okay, back to spirit realm. But I personally believe that suicide is driven by the ego. Okay, and you look at those people out there who are experiencing real deep psychosis, okay, because they're using all sorts of like really strong psychedelics and really strong, like say, methamphetamines and all these types of drugs, all this gear and stuff. It's real full on. This shit just flips people in their head. So imagine they got all those unhealed traumas, all that shadow within, and they're bringing in these substances now, which is altering their mind even more. What's happening? Okay, they're gonna flip. They'll flip. When I used to smoke marijuana, okay, I went through a little stage. I'll blaze up. Okay, I was like, well, here I am. Everything's in fine order. I'm not raising Luke anymore. All right, I'm in fine order here. I'm doing the inner work, whatever. All right, well, I might just still blaze up then. It's Friday night. Let's have a little spliff. But then I got to the point I realized, actually, no, I'm self-medicating. What am I running from? I'm still running. Yeah, because it was uncomfortable to sit alone sometimes. here in the country on my own while I'm working through trauma and grief. So, oh, fuck it, I'll give myself some respite. This is my attitude. This is my ego talking. Not my higher self, this is my ego. But little did I know, I was just pushing myself deeper into the ego. And then one night, I had a smoke. And if I was to smoke, it would just be the natural smoke. But I thought, I got this natural smoke. And Laurie's sister made it beautiful. Thank you for being here, sis. So I had this smoke one night, and it wasn't the natural smoke. It was some rubbish from someone, some nonsense smoke. And I smoked it, and I started to have this little psychotic episode here. And I'm like, shit ain't right. I was feeling like real angry. And I'm looking up, and I went and looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. And I'm hearing all these, it was just real fucked up. And I was like, I'm not doing this shit to myself anymore. I'm here. I practice what I'm preaching. I don't need to have a night of respite because I've been on Dark Night of the Soul for over 10 years. Nah. I'm going to sit here and continue to work my way through it purely and authentically. Because drugs is just going to confuse you more, and you can end up in a mental institution. Many people, like I said, they're going down that road, they're using drugs, they're using mushrooms, they're doing all these things, and they're flipping themselves. Okay, they're flipping themselves, getting real confused. And this is why I do not agree with people using psychedelics. People are using psychedelics. They're going to ayahuasca ceremonies and to all these mushroom ceremonies and all these things because I want to have a spiritual awakening. Because people think, oh yeah, I'm going to have a spiritual awakening now. And yes, and now I'm enlightened and I don't feel suffering and life is fucking fantastic. But let me tell you something. Okay, yeah, you can reach those states of consciousness where you feel absolutely elevated, because there's that times where I feel like I can float. Yeah, shit, considering what I've been through, but I ain't no victim. That's what I'm saying. There's times where I feel like I can float. There's times I just dance around the house. I feel like I'm going to pass out because I feel so latent and so high. But the thing is, we got to go through those waves. You're going to feel good, and in one moment, you're on the floor and you're purging and you're releasing so deeply generational trauma, old ass grief, old traumas, things from childhood that's resurfacing now. Oh, you were molested as a child, now that's resurfacing. Oh, the loss of your loved one that you never properly dealt with because you were on the bottle drinking for many years. Now you're off the bottle. Now things are going to start to surface. You're going to heal. It's time to heal. We're healing now. And you have a look how this correlates to the energy of the earth. The Schumann resonance is spiking. Okay? The solar activity is spiking. We're in solar maximum cycle 25 right now. It correlates with what's going on within, because as within, so without. We're collective, we're one. We're one with the earth, we're one with the universe. We're all one together. You see what I'm saying? So when the more light's coming through the earth and the earth is shifting, because Mother Gaia is now purifying. You look around the earth, Mother Gaia is purifying. All these hectic volcanoes and this and that, it is what it is. We don't need to put fear that way. We don't need to judge it. We need to accept this is a natural order, what's going on with the earth. We don't try to interrupt when Mother Earth is having a volcano. We don't interrupt when Mother Earth is having a storm or whatever. We allow the natural process. So why should we interrupt our natural process by trying to add things like psychedelics to enhance and to try to waken ourselves up? Because if you go and you try to induce your own third eye opening, it can be very dangerous. You'll throw yourself into a spiritual crisis, which will be full on, like a psychotic episode. Okay? And people, like I said, people go into mental hospital because of this. And you try to explain that. You go in there and you go inside the mental hospital and you try to explain that to them. You try to tell them that you're hearing voices, but you think it's spiritual. They're going to medicate you right then on the spot. They'll shack you up. They'll put you in that locker room with the padded wall. You try to tell them that. That's that system for you. So we need to spread the truth, okay? Speak to people. And don't worry, speak your truth. I don't care. I'm speaking my truth here. I don't care who wants to judge whatever. I'm not in my head. I can see you maybe operating from your ego. It doesn't bother me. I'm going to spread my truth and spread my awareness. Because I didn't lose my son for no reason. Luke crossed over for a reason, okay? Or part of this shift. How can I heal me and put all the pieces of me back together? How can I become whole again? I am whole. It's just the ego, and it's the shadow that's telling me that I'm not. So I can sit here and just tap into my inner power, tap into the light that I am. Everything will be illuminated. Everything will be illuminated. And the universe has your back. The universe is going to bring people in your life to activate you, to trigger you. Okay? And triggers are a beautiful thing. Do not be afraid of those triggers. When people come into your life, they're triggering the shit out of you. That's a beautiful thing. Thank them for that. Thank them. At first, you will feel so swayed. But then later on, once you sit in presence and you process that and you cry and you feel the emotion, whatever's trying to rise, your body starts to shake, you're trembling, you're sweating it, whatever. Maybe you vomit, whatever. You're purging. And then later on, you'll be like, shit. Thank you, universe, for that. Because that person just helped me heal another layer. You see what I mean? And that way you don't judge anyone. You're not going to be angry and hold on to anger. You're like, everyone is serving each other. We're all serving each other. It's such a beautiful thing. Everything's happening exactly how it's supposed to, right? I'll just slide up here a bit. I'm so glad you're here, Laurie, sister. You finally made it live. Did YouTube notify you? Because YouTube hasn't been... I actually sent YouTube a feedback form the other day because some people haven't been getting the notification. So we'll see what comes off that. And I also said... And I sent another one. I said, dear YouTube, I feel like I've been shadow banned. So I'll just wait and see what happens. Jean says, if someone takes their life while, especially when they were not in their right mind, they can be forgiven. God is very forgiving and understanding and compassionate. God is not as strict as you think. And you know, and I'm assuming that you're coming from a religious stance, Jean. To me, God is the universe and God is us, our spirit, our higher self. There's no judgment. We come here. We come here to have this human experience. Okay? And some people look at suicide as a sin. I don't look at suicide as a sin. I don't even look at anything as a sin. I just look at everything as like, say someone is a murderer, someone is a rapist, someone is a pedophile. I just look at them like that. Is they're vibrating very, very low. They are so influenced by their shadow. They're so dominated by their ego. That's how I look at it. Who am I to judge? That's their walk because they're creating their own karma. Remember that karma is a universal law. And sometimes we don't get justice in that system out there for, you know, other people's actions, especially when they've violated us. My son went through sexual trauma. His case was waiting a trial before he took his life. It was in the system. Luke took his life. They decided to put the case in the bin because they couldn't cross-examine him because he's in spirit now. So I went for the system. In the end, it was Luke. He came through in spirit. He said, Mum, you got to let it go. I was going to finish you. So shit. Oh, fuck, I got to let it go. Excuse my French. I knew I had to let it go. I knew I'm fighting against this system. That's how I spent my early grief days, fighting that system, fighting that justice system, because I wanted justice for my son. But in the end, you know what? I never once wished ill will on that man who hurt my son. Never once wished ill will on him, because I knew that he created his own karma. He has to live with that. And two, that justice system is corrupt. The same people who, you know, run all those all the medical system and all that, it's the same organizations. It's the same bloodlines who runs all those justice systems, the judiciary system and all that. The beautiful thing is, as the earth is going through this shift, my beautiful friends, okay, and people's consciousness is rising and more truth is coming to the surface, more light is being illuminating all the shadows on the earth collectively everywhere. These systems are crumbling. They're already crumbling. Things are going to shift. But the universal law of karma, you can't run from karma. So just remember that. Remember that with the system. Remember that with everyone. Okay? Karma. Knowing that will set you free. We don't have to hold on to anything. Okay? Jean says, I was really expecting God to be strict and mad at me, but he wasn't. I don't have a religion and still got to visit heaven. Beautiful. Self-awareness and our bodily autonomy is so important. That's very true. One love, Rita. I don't think that magic mushrooms or ketamine is the best method for mental health. Not everyone can handle tripping out or out-of-body experience. That's true. Laurie says she's been absorbing so much light and resonating with the world. Any recommendations for integrating better? The thing is as well, when you're absorbing so much light and you can feel it because you're feeling like, Laurie, when you embody more light, you can feel that. You feel like you've just jumped up an octave, like your frequency went up. It's like you're feeling like you can fly. Like I said, I have those moments, okay? It's important to stay grounded. That's what I can say. Stay super grounded. If you need like extra crystals, because crystals hold a certain vibration, okay? Look at this beautiful twin quartz here. I've had this for years. Such a beautiful, okay? But I find crystals very grounding. When I need extra grounding, I'll sit there and I'll work with the crystals just to ground me more. Black stones are good for grounding, and being on the earth is good for grounding. And sometimes you feel like your head, you feel the Kundalini energy in your head. It feels like your head's going to explode, because I feel that little bit, okay? Get in the shower or immerse yourself in the water because it's very grounding. Okay, fill a bucket, put water and salt in the bucket, and just put your feet in the bucket just so you're grounded. Or go outside, even if it's freezing, just go out. If it's windy, just get out there so it can ground you a bit. Okay, sit there and just do things like this just to come back into your body. Okay, rub your hand. Okay, just to come back into your body. Put some music on, play the crystal singing bowls or whatever, drumming. So stay grounded because it's really going to help, because your mind will get really active as well. And when we pierce through layers of healing as well, because it may feel super like heightened and elated, you feel absolutely amazing, but then sometimes after that you might experience a dip. Okay, not straight away, but sometimes that might happen. You may experience a dip where all of a sudden now you are knocked and then you're processing another deep layer of trauma. So just remember, okay, every state is impermanent. Okay, this is going to pass. To ascend, we've got to go through those stages. Okay, you're up and down, but then you balance back up, because what's happening is your central nervous system is going to regulate as well. And when your central nervous system, because imagine all the traumas and stuff we've been through, how much it throws our body. So when your system starts to regulate, then you're going to start to heal. That Lyme disease is going to be gone. Okay, that diabetes is going to be gone. Okay, all the irritable bowel, all the gut issues going to be gone. All the asthma going to be gone. Okay, whatever you want to call all these thyroid issues is going to be gone. Why? Because it's just all the old energy of all the repressed traumas, all the stuff we never got to process. Okay, we're soul integrating. This is soul integration, my friends. This is the walk of the warrior. Okay, I salute you all for being here on this path. It doesn't matter what stage you're at. Okay, it's all valid. It's all valid. It doesn't matter what stage you're at. Okay, you'll find the people where you can resonate with, and it may not be close to you, but they may be online. Go online and watch different videos. If you resonate with my teachings and you're new here, please feel free to subscribe, okay? But go through and have a look. Jump on people's videos and things. Go find some things online if you can, if there's nothing in your local community, and go and read comments and stuff, and you'll start to realize, shit, I'm not alone actually. This person is experiencing the same thing I've been experiencing. Oh, Dark Night of Soul. This person's gone through Dark Night of Soul, ego death for 20 years. Shit. You see, we're not alone. We're all going through this, okay? So yeah, Laurie, stay nice and grounded. Jean had a near-death experience. Oh, that's crazy. I actually had 3 near-death experiences when I was a child. My first near-death experience, I think I was about 7 years old. So I was drowning in the water, which was crazy. I was in the river, and my brother and sister saved me at the time, and I was like near death because I was like fighting and putting up this, because I couldn't swim. It was real deep water. I was fighting this battle. It was like hectic. And then all of a sudden, I was just like, stop fighting. It was just peaceful, and I was just like floating. It was like peaceful. I still remember it. It was such a peaceful vibe. And then I got saved. It was crazy as. But then I had issues with deep water after that. You see how the body, the remembrance, okay? The body will hold on to the trauma. The body keeps the score, right? So that trauma, unless we face it, it needs to be shifted. You see what I'm saying? So the universe or people will trigger you, situations will trigger you, okay? And you're getting that physiological response. You're getting that pull. If you're getting that strong pull physiologically, you're sweating it, you're feeling scared, you're feeling like, oh shit, okay? It means that past trauma still has a strong hold on you. So you face that, okay? You set the right space and you face that. Your spirit will give you exactly what you need to process it. You just allocate time every single day, allocate time to be present until you can build your presence up to every moment of the day. Everything you're doing, you're completely present. Then you're generating more life force. The energy in you is generating, getting stronger and stronger. No shadow is going to be able to survive in you because you'll merge with your spirit. Like I said, this is soul integration, my friends. Okay? Jane says, I'm not big on crying. I'm too busy taking on other people's problems. I feel kind of dumb, stupid if I cry over a movie. Well, Jane, let me tell you, it's time to love you more, because, you're judging yourself there by saying you feel kind of dumb and stupid if you cry over a movie. And, you're taking on other people's things. And that's the thing. You can't keep taking on other people's problems. I used to do that when I was younger. I used to sit there and worry and stress about everyone around me. And I was like, well, why am I doing this? This is some sort of projection. I have to look inwardly. Look inwardly. What is it that you're running from? It's time for you to face that. Because if we can't cry and we're holding that stuff in, it's not going to release. Okay, and you'll be dense. And you want to merge with your spirit. You want to soul integrate. You want to be able to float, man. You want to be able to skim through life in flow state, present, and just harmonized. When, you don't live in fear anymore. We don't live in survival mode anymore. So be kind to you, no matter where you're at. Maybe you're just learning to love yourself. Okay? Sit there and wrap your arms around yourself. Just start there and just give yourself a big warm hug and embrace and love you. Give yourself that love that you feel you didn't get from your parents as a child. Give yourself that love that you feel you didn't get from any partner. Give yourself that love that you don't feel that you get from any of your friends. Give yourself that love you feel you ain't getting from your community. Because no one can love you like you can learn to love yourself. That's the highest honor. That's where you really shift. When you can cultivate that self-love, this is where this real shift happens. It's self-love, baby. That's the key. Okay. Tracy's sister, good to see you here, beautiful warrior lady. Good to see you. Thank you for the condolences. There's no religion in heaven. There's only goodness. I'm not religious, but I have respect for the 10 Commandments and the teachings of Jesus. Jesus never said that we had to live a religion. And this is the Christ consciousness teachings. This is what my channel was about. It's about returning back to the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is within. How do we access that? We got to work through the shadow. We got to work through the darkness, okay? Because we are the light. There's nothing to fear. When we can be brave enough now, I'm courageous enough now, I'm going to face the shadow. You get to access the kingdom of heaven within. That's where the magic lays. That's where you feel so connected to the universe in such a beautiful way, not on this low vibrating 3D earth reality. You're connected to the universe. You're connected to, you feel the love connection to your ancestors, to my son Luke, to everyone. You feel that connection. You feel the oneness with the earth. You're in the earth now. You're connected to the trees. Even sitting here indoors, I sit here, I just zen out, and I'm connected to the trees. I have my sacred tree. I put a little post up the other day, guys. You see that beautiful tree? It's like nearly 300 years old, this tree. It's my tree. And it's not far from me. It's maybe about half a kilometre away. And that's my sacred tree. I go zen out there. I'll be sitting here and I just tap into the energy of the tree. That's what I mean. The kingdom of heaven, all these beautiful magic stuff is within. But we're going to work our way through the shadow. You're not going crazy. You're just having a Kundalini awakening. You're going through your different stages of growth. Okay? Don't let that system play with your head. Don't let that system gaslight you. Don't let that system manipulate you and confuse you. Okay? And like I said, the biggest block from accessing the kingdom of heaven within is that ego. The ego will try to distract you with addiction. Addiction is such a big thing, okay? Pay attention, because addiction, like I said before, is a blanket. It's a blanket. Pay attention to your life. Pay attention to what's your blanket. Maybe your blanket is obvious. Oh yeah, okay, I like to smoke, I like to drink. Maybe you like to gamble. But maybe your blanket isn't so obvious. Maybe you're a workaholic. Maybe you're always putting other people before you. That's a blanket there. That's escapism, because you ain't facing you. You're too busy attending to other people's issues. Yeah? So that's a blanket right there. Okay? Maybe it's food. Pay attention to the blanket. Okay? You're sitting there and you can't sit still in presence like this. But you can't, if you struggle to sit still like this in presence, okay? Because it's too uncomfortable, sit with the discomfort. Because it may feel uncomfortable at first, but then you're going to start to crack and break through. You're going to start to have access to the shadow, so the shadow can be lit, can be illuminated, okay? Laurie, the mind won't shut up. Just keep observing the mind, okay? If I quit taking my thyroid medication, then it will only make me about 1 to 2 weeks before I fall into my coma again. Oh, well, I'm not giving medical advice here. I'm not telling you to come off your medication or anything like that. I'm just saying that we can heal all these chronic diseases by healing all the repressed emotions, because that's what it is. It's just manifestation of all the unhealed parts, okay? Patty says, I manage youth services and coordinate our trauma-informed practice programs. Boundaries and people able to care for ourselves is important, but we're human. That's where peer support is key. Boundaries are very important. A lot of us grew up not knowing boundaries too, because maybe our parents didn't have strong boundaries, okay? So then we went through our lives having weak boundaries, and that's why we end up, attracting unhealthy relationships into our life. like with the narcissist and things like that. Okay. So boundaries are very important, and a lot of people are too afraid to say no. No means no. Okay, you don't need to people please anyone anymore. This is part of you standing in your power. A lot of people, they're tired. They just want to people please and stuff. It's like, well, let's look at the shadow there. What's the shadow behind you people pleasing then? Because you need to be validated all the time. Why? Because you went through abandonment, went through some sort of trauma there, where now you need to be validated and you feel you only even feel worthy if you're constantly saying yes and you feel bad if you say no. Well, now it's time to rise above. Okay? Don't let anyone have it over you. No one should have anything over you. Okay? Jonathan says, I'm chosen. Well, thank you, Jonathan, for choosing yourself, because we're all chosen. Okay? We're all choosing ourselves. We're all choosing a state of higher consciousness. Try not to throw division. There's a lot of division out there in this world that we're living in, this shifting times that we're in, the age of Aquarius now. There's a lot of people there, it's like I call this spiritual ego, because people are like, oh, I'm a chosen one, I'm a chosen one. And it's like, hang on, we're all chosen. What's the chosen one? Because someone who's self-actualized. So keep doing the inner work. You actualize more. The more inner work you do, you're going to keep actualizing. You're going to keep awakening. You're going to keep having awakenings. You think you're awakened now? You wait. You keep doing the inner work. You're going to keep meeting parts of you never thought existed. You think you're having moments now where you're flying and bouncing off the walls and feeling like just elated? You wait, it's only going to get better. That's what I'm trying to say. Tracy, it's all what we believe. I don't use the words and labels anymore. They're all division. That's right. There's so many labels out there in this world of all these labels. It's crazy. And like I said, watch out mental health system. Because, when I worked in mental health, this was many years ago, they have the books. I think it's called the DAS. So these books, I have many of these books, and there's different editions of them, okay? And the book will have legit like hundreds of different mental health disorders, okay? Example, schizophrenia, and then under schizophrenia, the characteristics of the schizophrenia, all of this different types of symptoms of schizophrenia. So schizophrenia, if you have schizophrenia, it means you have anxiety, you have depression, you have poor hygiene, blah, blah, blah. But look at this, my friends. When I used to study this book when I worked in mental health, I come across these books, and I was like, snuck this book one time from this office. Okay, I wasn't meant to have access to this book, but me, I was also rebelled against that system. I'm working, and I think shit ain't adding up here. I'm working with people. These are people, man. I've got compassion. I grabbed this book and I'm reading. I was like, shit, it was a real eye opener. That was a rabbit hole for me. I'm looking, and I looked, and then I picked up the next edition because they update these books every few years. Yeah, and now you want to see how many hundreds of mental health disorders they have in there now, or gaming disorder, gaming addiction, and all these things. It all comes from unhealed traumas. Okay, the mind ends up just doing crazy shit if it's not working correctly. Okay, our body is intelligent. Okay, we come back to body. We slide out of our head. We have to come back to our body now. We connect to our body. Okay, we need to drop these labels. Stop pointing the finger and judgment. We come back and return into our hearts. This is how we shift. This is Christ consciousness. This is the Christ consciousness teachings. Okay, return inward. Return inward. Are there any more questions? If there's any questions, please drop them below for me. I'm just looking at my notes to see I haven't forgotten anything. Just remember that medical system is just all about suppression. They just want the medication, and they just want to pump out the medication, and they just want the money. The same as that, the medical system as well. You go in there and something's up with you. The doctor will you go in there, for example, you say to the doctor, okay, I'm having gut issues, I'm having histamine response now. The doctor's going to go and give you an antihistamine. This happened to me in the past. I was having gut issues. I didn't know what was going down. Okay, I got really sick. Okay, and this is even, you guys can even realize, okay, I had issues going on, okay, with my liver. I had issues going on with my body. I had all these gut issues, and I didn't know what was going on. I never had health issues in my life. So I feel you, Laurie, when you said that comment not long ago, sister. Okay, I never had health issues. But what happens is, okay, when we go through traumas and things, like I said, man, it builds up in the body. So for me to process that, my son had told me he was sexually traumatized by my ex-husband. I didn't realize I married a pedophile. Shit. I had to process that. I had to process the fact what my baby boy was going through. And then I had to process the fact that my son took his life. And then I had to process the fact that the system decided to get Luke's case and bin it. And then there was all these added extras on the way. Oh shit, talk about dark night as well. It was a lot to process. So my body ended up wearing it in the end. So I end up with a fungus overgrowth in my system, candida overgrowth. We have fungus in our gut, but when it's out of balance, shit, okay, affected my liver, everything. I was sick. I was rotating herbs and everything, you know. I did all these things, and I'm going to the doctors. I'm going to the system. Like, well, tell me what's up, man. I know my body. How can I be sick? I'm healthy. I eat so clean. I exercise, man. I meditate. I don't partake in drugs. I don't do alcohol. I don't even use chemicals on my body. Nothing. If I got colored hair, it's just because I add the colored braids in it. You know what I'm saying? I don't do chemicals. Nothing. Why am I sick? Doctors were gaslighting me. Doctor's like, well, just take an antihistamine tablet. I'm like, but why do you want to put a band-aid on me? This is me to the doctor. I was getting so frustrated. I was getting so irritated, and I was getting highly triggered because I know how corrupt the system is. And through that process, I'm realizing, shit, I'm getting super triggered here with the system too, because I still need to heal that part of me where the system didn't give my son justice. It was crazy. It was crazy. So I had to learn. Okay, I had to learn how to heal my own body, and I realized actually, nah, there's something going on here. Because how come I'm not healing here? If I'm doing all the correct things, I'm giving my body all the right conditions to heal. I need to look in deeper. So I started looking deeper. Then there's an emotion. There's something going on that my body's still holding on to, and it was trauma. Oh, sorry, it was anger, and it was grief. And it's been 7 years since Luke transitioned back to spirit, but I had a lot to process, like I said, and my body and mind and spirit can only handle so much. Okay, so listen to your body. Your body is telling you something's up. Okay, when something's going up, you got some disease, you got something going down. There's something. Sorry, I didn't put my phone on silent earlier. There's something that needs to be looked at. Okay, so have a look. What are you still holding on to? That's how you do the shadow work. Sit there, bust out a pen and paper. Okay, am I still feeling angry? What am I angry at? Okay, pay attention to what the universe is presenting to you. Pay attention to what the theme is in your life. Okay, people are triggering you. There's certain things going down. Yeah, okay, well, that's what's up then. That's what I'm still holding on to. And maybe you don't even know you're sitting in presence and you're just going to process whatever. Just allow it to be. We're here at this time. We're here to heal. We don't have to suffer anymore. So bring presence forward, okay? You're your own doctor. You're your own healer. We are self-healers, okay? Thanks everyone for being here. Thank you so much. Jean says, all the major hospitals neglected me until I fell into a coma and died. I was actually neglected to death when I kept trying to tell the hospitals that I thought that I was dying. Yeah, wow, that's really crazy. And now you get to share your story with the rest of the world and inspire others and help others have insight on spirit as well, seeing that you had a near-death experience too, and your experience with the medical system as well. So a lot of people have been screwed over by that medical system because they, like I said, that system ain't trying to help us heal. They just want to cash in on you. Okay. Like I've gone taken blood to go check my cholesterol levels and make sure everything's G, and I do regular blood work and stuff. And that's all I go there for now because I know they're useless. I'm not going to get nothing from them. They're going to heal me. I'm going to heal myself. And I'm pretty good so far. I'm still here. I'm doing pretty good. My health is getting better. I'm good. I'm feeling good. Okay. So even when I go do blood work, I feel like, oh nah, man, I'm giving them my DNA. There's pure blood here. I'll give them my pure blood. Oh, Laurie says, I'm angry at myself for always taking care of others over myself. But don't be angry at yourself anymore, sis. Put your arms around yourself. Give yourself a big hug. You know what? You're at where you're at now. You've just timeline jumped right now just by acknowledging that. So now things are going to shift up. So now it's time to take care of you. Do you. You're worthy. You're very welcome, Leonie. Jane says, I lost my son too, and a bunch of other crazy things happened to me. So I've been through most of the worst things. I'm so sorry about your son. And look, you know, your son and my son right now, because where he connected, this is how I see it, right? When where he connected, well, then our loved ones together and spirit are connected. So Luke and your son are probably playing basketball or something. Oh. One love, everyone, okay? Take care of yourselves, guys, okay? Remember, just keep breathing through it. Don't let that system screw you over, okay? Soul integration happens when we're present, okay? We process, we feel, we heal, we level up. We're here to shift. This is the age of Aquarius, okay? The kingdom to heaven is within. See you next time, my beautiful friends. One love.